Welcome to the Agent 251 podcast, the real estate show that looks deep into the work and culture at JWRE, Jason Will Real Estate, in Mobile and Baldwin counties. Jason, Agent 251, investigates and spills the beans on his case closing clues and industry secrets for motivating agents while educating buyers and sellers.
Welcome to the Agent 251 podcast. I'm your host, Jason Will. I'm here this morning with Mr. Tim Wallace. Tim, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
So Tim is our new qualifying broker for JWRE Mobile. That's big news.
Yeah, it's great news, especially for me.
And I thought we had a good podcast here because you're coming into a whole new system and you're trying to learn it as well. Like learn the value system, the unique value proposition, how we do business and what we're all about.
Absolutely, yes.
So I thought
learn
we
something new every day.
Yeah, I thought we could take that learning experience on the radio airwaves, the podcast airwaves, and also Facebook Live. All right, so just tell the audience a little bit about you and your experience in real estate. Let's start there.
I've been in real estate for about 25 years. I had my broker's license for about 23 years. I've been with several companies. I was owner of one company, Southern Homes Realty, for about 7 years. I have practiced as qualifying broker on occasions, not continually through that time period. And what else can I say?
I don't know. What I'm hearing is that you're highly qualified.
Oh, is that what you're hearing?
That's what I'm hearing.
Well,
if what you're saying is truthful, you're highly qualified. One thing that struck me when we were meeting is that you said that you had the heart for the broker position, and that's not easy to find. I think some people think that they want to be a qualifying broker. Maybe they want to get the salary, the comfort of the guaranteed income, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of times it's about the title. So when you hear somebody say, no, I'm about picking up the towels and not the title, that's when it registered for me. All right, let's talk more to this individual.
I mean, I enjoy all aspects of real estate. Don't get me wrong. I love working with buyers and sellers, but I love working with agents, and I love finding the strengths in them that sometimes they can't see themselves. I like teaching them the nuts and bolts so that they don't have to be nervous when they go out on that listing appointment or when they're having that buyer consultation, and just seeing the growth and then seeing those agents that were so nervous in the beginning start pouring into other new agents.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So let's tell the audience, make sure that they know, just for clarity purposes, that you still sell. So if somebody's watching or listening and they're a past client of yours or looking to buy or sell, you're still very much in the business.
Absolutely, yes. I list and sell. Yeah, please call me.
And I think that's important just for you to keep a toe in the water just so that you can help train these agents.
Right.
To still be active in the business on some level.
Absolutely, yeah. So I know what's going on and what the trends are, and yeah.
Because I know some people might be listening and go, well, I don't want a competing broker. But I know some of these brokers at a lot of the big established offices in town, like the broker owner is like the top producer. So I can kind of see where they're coming from.
Right.
I mean, your mission is not to outperform everybody in the office. Your mission is to supplement your income and also be sharp and aware and current, up to date on things that are going on in the industry and how to practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
keeping up with the laws, keeping up with the trends, RECAD, what we can do on our signs, social media advertising, all that.
And we were talking in preparation for the show on Monday. The other thing, you're a big SOI, a sphere of influence guy.
Yes.
And
yes.
That is a foundational piece of real estate. Your SOI should always equal your highest percentage of your ROI.
Right.
But you and I are going to be working moving into the future in the near future, about how to infuse technology into your business.
And I find that very exciting.
And I see that there's a lot of very successful agents. We talked about this in Mobile County particularly that are very old school.
Very, yes.
And maybe they have, they just feel like an old dog. They're like, I can't learn a new trick. But what excites me is taking that agent who says, well, it's too late for me to get on the social media bandwagon or the Google bandwagon, the creation of content and generating internet leads and using our CRM at a high level. I think that overwhelms a lot of agents. Would you agree?
Totally agree. Yes. I mean, honestly, some of it overwhelms me. But if you just kind of take one step at a time, you don't have to implement everything in the first day or the first week. Just implement one thing and then learn that and, get help, ask for help, and then you can move forward with other things.
And taking you down this journey, it's going to be much easier for you to consult with an agent going, hey, I thought my mindset was that it was too late for me to use technology to grow my business. But I'm actually doing it. I'm actually converting internet leads. They've resulted in sales. And you'll hear a lot of that. I mean, mindset is a problem that just plagues our industry. So even if I show you show another agent how to generate 30, 40, 50 leads a month at no cost, and they start dialing them, and the first 5, 10, or 20 they get are all like, well, I was just looking, or I'm not serious. The agent's, default is to go, all right, well, this is a waste of time. And you've got to keep powering through that. So the keys to the industry are, having enough people to talk to, knowing what to say to those people, and knowing how many times you need to say the right things to them. So those are a lot of the things we're going to be going over in the next week. So I'm excited to grow your business so that you can, impart that knowledge and, that power mindset on to other agents.
Yeah, when we had our power lunch last week, I know you were out of town last week, but when we had the agents that came over from the Fairhope office, and they were sharing some of those things. This is what you say to an internet lead. This is what you say to a potential buyer. This is what you say to a sign call. This is what you say to a for sale by owner if you are, want to help them sell their house. And, I've heard a lot of things, I've been in business for years, but I was picking up stuff left and right from what they were saying. Just like you said, it's new. It's something that I haven't really done and had a huge success in, which is the reason why most of my business has been my SOI.
I hate that there's so many agents out there in Mobile County that missed that power lunch. I know we had a really good turnout.
We did.
But just to think about how many lives that literally could have, and I think would have been changed had they made the time to come into that room. And I went on a recruiting appointment the other day with an agent. I had a hard time keeping her attention, but she did focus enough to tell me one of her main things at her current company is a lack of training. Yet I can't get her to focus and to control her schedule long enough to come into our training room to receive the training. So you've got to schedule time to invest in yourself to grow this business.
Absolutely. You definitely do. Just what Jason said, you've got to invest. You invest part of your earnings into advertising, marketing, you buy signs, whatever. Well, you got to invest in yourself. You got to sit through classes. You got to take classes. And hey, guess what? When we're talking about the power lunch that's at our office on Wednesdays, it's not going to cost you anything. And there's lunch.
Yeah, that's the other thing that baffles me is, everybody's got to eat. So they're like, oh, I've got this or that going on. At lunch hour, typically, you're eating lunch. And I saw, an agent down in Orange Beach that I've been trying to get in our training room for a while. She went and paid for lunch at the Crazy Cajun, which is where we had lunch brought in from the Crazy Cajun. So she just went and spent time having lunch, probably with a friend or a colleague, where she could have come in and collaborated with a whole group of agents, got the same exact lunch for free.
And she would have learned something.
Yeah, right. And not have paid for it. So it's crazy. But, I see the other thing that's going on is there's agents that are like, all right, well, I see, people in my office or people in a mastermind group or on a national stage having success with Zillow. So I'm gonna dump a bunch of money into Zillow, but then they don't know what to say to the leads.
Right. That's one of the problems that, that's come to mind about me. I can call people, I can do what needs to be done to contact these people, but then what? It's almost like, okay, I got a fish on the line. Now what do I do with it?
Right. Because we did that same power lunch that you guys had in Mobile last week. We did that in Fairhope and Orange Beach the prior weeks. And so I got to see them. And what I love about that, it really is an art form. People don't want to be sold, so they're going to continue to throw out these little objections. I'm just looking. I'm not really interested. I'm not ready to buy or ready to sell. But these agents, when they're doing that live script practice and role play, they just keep peeling back the layers with questions. Oh, and they validate the objection. Oh, I understand that you're just looking, but let me ask you this. It's that continual asking of questions that delays the conversation long enough to build rapport, which I think is one of the big keys.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about this. Are there a lot of companies where you will find agents that are willing to share on a high level, like what they're doing to convert these leads?
There are probably a couple. Most companies that I've had any experience with, the mindset is, look, I paid for this knowledge and I'm not giving it to you. We're in competition and I'm going to get these sales and these listings and you're not.
Okay. So what I wanted to do with this podcast is kind of establish the big rock foundational pieces of JWRE. And one of those is that once you get out of competition and into collaboration, the whole world opens up. First of all, do you think you would agree with that?
Absolutely. Totally agree with it. And what really has struck me about my short exposure to JWRE is that collaboration is offered not only to agents within the office, but any agent that wants to join in. They don't even have to move over. You just want to share with them, hey, how we can all be better professionals. That really struck a chord with me. I felt like, I can get behind this.
Yeah. So, in full disclosure, it's a way for me to encounter agents that I want to be in business with personally.
Absolutely.
But we're not asking anybody to join. These people they come to our events and they may come to me and go, I've gotten so much. I've come here. We've had an agent down at the beach who came, I'm trying to think. She came for months, literally like 6 months. To power lunches consistently, and she was growing her business. She actually had a better split. I think she had like a profit share at her current company. I don't know how the current company or her prior company was making money, but it was a better deal. But she wasn't getting the support, the training, the accountability to grow her business, but she was finding it at the power lunch. So she said, well, listen, the little bit that I'm going to be losing in terms of the split, I'm going to be gaining a vast amount more from the training. And she ended up coming over. But the point I would make is in that 6 month period, I never said, hey, let me sit down with you and go over the pros and cons, of where you're at versus, where you would get here, or, hey, if you're interested in, joining us. There was never any pressure. I know there's a lot of talk. What I'm just assuming, I want to see if you agree with this, is that, there's just a lot of misconceptions and people say, oh, don't go over there for power lunch. They're going to put some pressure on you to join. I don't know what else it is unless they don't want to be seen with us, or maybe there's fear of water cooler talk.
Probably so. They're like, well, what if I might not like them and then somebody sees me, they might think, oh, well, they're going to leave. When really, I'm not planning on leaving. I think there's probably some of that.
Yeah, a lot of reasons going out there. All right, so we're big on collaboration. Some of the agents that were on that panel, the script practice and role playing panel, I know one of them lives in Gulf Shores, so drove a long distance to come over there for no other benefit but to pay it forward to provide that knowledge to that group of agents. So that I think you're starting to see some of the culture aspects of what we're creating kind of come out when you see agents who are like, we're trying to get agents to get control enough of their schedule to come in and eat free lunch and learn with us. And you've got agents who are doing, one of those agents, the agent that led the panel, Ann Dorman, consistently has anywhere from 8 to 12 pending deals.
Wow.
So you would imagine that her time is pretty valuable.
I would think so.
But yet makes the time. That was the third time that she'd taken time out of her day to drive a long distance, whether that's because she lives in Fairhope, whether that's to drive to Orange Beach or drive to Mobile to share knowledge with agents she doesn't even know.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff.
It was very powerful.
So I think that's one of our big things. And the other one is, and listening to some of the discussions that are going on out there, like you and I met with an agent on Monday, and she said, I didn't know. We were like, why haven't you come and checked out a power lunch? She said, well, I didn't know that I was invited.
Wow.
So I thought we could use this as an opportunity to clear up some confusion. And that just goes to show you that no matter how many times I say it, I need to continue to say it.
Yes.
You need to start saying
yes.
it. Like, everybody is literally welcome. And you pointed out in that conversation that we had an actual broker come, not last week, but the 2 prior weeks.
Right. And he joined in, and he's picking up knowledge, and he's sharing knowledge with us. So it's great. It's a great collaboration.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that particular broker came in contact with a brand new agent and said, well, you would be better off. I don't have time to train you. You'd be better off at JWRE.
That's right. And we were excited to talk to him too. So yeah, I thought that was great. That he thought enough of us and what we're doing that he would send a brand new agent to us to get training that he didn't feel like he had time for.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. And so it just goes to show you there's a lot of power in what we're doing. The other thing is there was another agent I talked to last week, and she said, I didn't know that I could get one-on-one time with you. And I feel like I'm out there going, hey, who needs a one-on-one coaching appointment this week? But it just goes to show you again that we need to be constantly reinforcing these big rocks.
We absolutely do. And I understand, I really understand where you're coming from with that, and I understand where she was coming from, because I've seen posts that you've done on Facebook where you're saying, hey, contact me for a free one-on-one. But, we tend to think, well, that's Jason Will. He's got all these offices. He's traveling. He doesn't have time for me. I think that sometimes people think that. So, guys, he's so approachable. You need to contact him. If you can't get in touch with him, get in touch with me. I'll put you in touch with him. He's got some great ideas, and he's ready to share with you. One
thing I've been trying to do to kind of maybe break down some of these barriers or say, hey, reach out to me via Facebook Messenger. Just send me a Facebook message or even a text or an email and see if I respond to it.
That's a great idea.
Just throw something out there, throw a question, and see how I answer it. Say, well, I've got this objection today while I was on the phone. I don't know how to overcome it. Or my seller is saying that, we need some more innovative marketing ideas. What ideas do you have? And just see if I respond.
That's a great idea.
And then they might go, well, because maybe they think that I don't know what I'm talking about, or the coaching appointment is a waste of time, or there's one free one, then I start charging. Who knows what people are thinking?
Who knows? Yeah.
Who knows what people think? All right, so in addition to one-on-one coaching, pop quiz, Tim Wallace, what else do we offer in terms of training?
Well, we have, we're setting up online classes. JWRE University, right?
Wow.
Look at that. Who thought I
He's
wasn't paying attention?
Travis.
Travis is going to be filming some classes so that, if you can't come to the class when it's live, you can tune in from your computer at day or night. So we're trying to get that set up, and I think that'll be a great thing, a great resource. Also, even if you can come to the live class, then if you have it available, tune back into again because you took notes, but you thought, now what was he saying here? Maybe I need to listen to that again. So that'll be available to you as well.
Yeah. So what's also really helpful is if these agents get involved, even the agents that are currently under our umbrella, but the more questions we get from agents, the more agents that raise their hand and go, hey, I'm dealing with this right now. Then we know, because what I really want to do is meet agents where they are. Like, I don't want to be playing a guessing game. Like, I'm trying to guess where you're hitting a roadblock or a ceiling that's being placed on your achievement. I need to know from you what that is.
Yeah, that's great. Because you put together a class, somebody comes in there, and everything that you're discussing is something that they're already okay with, and then they leave and they think, well, I didn't get anything from that. That's a great idea. You put it out there, ask questions of them, find out where they are, and meet them there. I like that.
Yeah. So it would be really helpful to hear more from the agent community, because there may be some that just want to stay in the shadows, but they may have a burning question, and they could catch it on a live video or one of Travis's pre-recorded deals and get that question answered. Or, I tell people this all the time. If they message me via Facebook Messenger, anything we talk about is confidential. I don't go running out going, hey, I talked to somebody today at so-and-so brokerage. There's a trust factor there, but there's only one way to find out. They need to send me a message to see what happens.
Send it, guys.
What else have you seen? Let's back up a little bit. because we said this on the video that we made, but I want to talk about it one more time before we move on to the additional big rocks of JWRE. But you were very happy where you were.
I really was. I thought I was.
Yeah. And it was interesting. We're having a conversation. And one of the things I say to a lot of folks that I want to be in business with is that you may be happy where you are, but you have no idea what you're missing. And of course, there'll be people out there that are watching and listening that say, well, this is that whole grass is always greener. And a lot of times it's not. Where did you find the green grass? I mean, what have you experienced in the last days and weeks that reinforce your decision?
A number of things. Just the learning something new when I come in. I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years, and we're still learning. Just the culture in the office, just the way that it feels when I walk in. It's like people are upbeat and happy and want to interact. I've been very welcomed by everybody in the Mobile office and in the other offices. It's just every day it's like I get a new confirmation.
Now, when we were meeting with the agent on the recruiting appointment on Monday, you said some things struck you in that meeting as well. Could you pinpoint anything there that kind of stood out?
Well, I've never really done recruiting meetings with anybody. That has not been in my realm. And so it was interesting to see the interaction between you and that agent and, just the way that you asked questions and waited for an answer and then answered the question instead of going from a script or, something like that.
My big thing is I want to see where the gaps are in their business because it's a big deal to change brokerages.
It really is.
I mean, it's emotional. It can be emotionally draining. It can be, there's expenses and there's, a lot of sweat equity that goes into it. Now, we try to rally behind the agent as much as we can to make this just a smooth and easy transition to where they really hardly even notice it. But, at the same time, like you had a bunch of even some lifelong relationships with folks and you just, even detached, even though you're still going to be friends.
Right.
And you're still there for them if they have a question, Absolutely. If they need you for anything. Maybe it was just like, man, I won't be able to see this person every day. I mean, it could be little things like that.
And it is. And, and even though we're in the same city, it's different if you work in the same office with somebody or if you don't see them as much. And even after you and I had talked a couple of times and I felt this is an opportunity that I need to take, even after that decision was made, I wavered. Not because I thought I was making a wrong decision for me, but because I didn't want to rock the boat where I was.
Right. Yep. And that's big.
Yeah, it really is. You don't want to hurt people when you make a decision to move. And sometimes there are hurt feelings there that you just can't avoid. But I can say to everybody that I've worked with before, I mean, I love you guys. You're friends. You've been friends for years. Some of you for decades.
Right.
And that doesn't change.
Well, I want to, even in our talks leading up to you moving over to JWRE and any agent I meet with, I want to see where they're at. And I want to meet them where it's the same strategy. I want to meet them where they're at. I want to make sure that I can, because the last thing I want to do is have them move over and not be able to meet their expectations.
Right, because then what's the point of that?
Yeah, so how we hire people is going to decide whether they stay or they leave. There's no point just trying to do whatever I need to do or say whatever I need to say to add people to our roster and not have it be a right fit. You've already brought up culture, so I wanted to kind of get back into the big rock stuff. I like to remind people, especially our leadership, that we hire to our culture and we fire to our culture. And our culture is really built upon these foundational legs to learn, to earn, to give, and to serve. And you and I sat down Monday and really our mission and our vision statement's kind of been all over the place. It really has been changed a number of times, but I think we stumbled onto something really good. And we're going to be releasing that, to the public here pretty soon. Did the core values have any impact on you, or are they having an impact on you in any way?
Absolutely. Everything that JWRE is built on, it revolves around learning. It revolves around pouring into other people, what you've learned. It's right in my wheelhouse. It's what I see myself doing. It's who I see myself being. So I just felt like we were such a great fit.
Yeah. I always tell people if we're in a recruiting appointment, or I try to remind people that if they're not learning based, if they don't like to give back and pay it forward and pour into others, they're going to be found out pretty quick. I mean, it's like swimming upstream. They're going to be chewed up and spit out, and it's not going to be a good fit. And I think that's really served us well, because as an independent brokerage, all we have is our reputation.
Right. That's right.
And we can't have, it just takes one bad apple to spoil the bunch. So we have to be really selective about who we get into business with. So I think the core values kind of sets that tone. This is what we're about.
If you don't see yourself being about this, hey, we can still be friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, you talked about like the support and pouring into others. I think this is just a simple thing, but it's really, really powerful, is the private Facebook page, our ecosystem. And the fact that when an agent goes in there and asks a question, there's like immediately, at a minimum, 5 agents that rush to the aid and go, here's my advice, or I can help you with that, or I'll go on that appointment with you. And, that's pretty amazing, I think.
It is amazing. It's great because, sometimes you have a question at 10 o'clock at night. The office is closed. People are probably sleeping. You can't call somebody. You
Right.
put something out on that private Facebook page, and people are up perusing, and they see it. And just like you said, if they know the answer, they reach out to you,
Yeah.
which is great.
I think it's awesome. I think it's one of those things that I see. I just sit back as an observer a lot of times. And this is what's been really neat for me, is to design these core values and then watch other people run with them. And
embrace them. Huh?
Yeah. And to say, hey, we've got this, our community service aspect of our business has become this leg squad. And to see them go, hey, we're not doing anything in the community. We haven't done anything lately. We need to get out in the community and find an area to serve. To see that happen. Or I used to be the dominating voice on that ecosystem and was the person who had the answer. I'm not really involved in it anymore. I'm just an observer watching other people rush to the aid of other agents. So I don't know.
That's great.
I love it. Other things that I want to talk about today, I am big on innovation and technology. So I think we've got a low tech, no tech, and high tech approach to the real estate industry. So no matter where the agent is in their business, they don't have to say, well, I don't want to come to your company because I'm scared of technology. We're not going to be all up in their business telling them what to do.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, just like Jason's been saying, we want to meet you where you are. If it's low tech, hey, let's do low tech. But let us show you some things that maybe you can step into, dip your toe in just a little bit to see if it might be something that that you can see yourself doing.
And you're just keep an open mind.
Right.
Don't close the door. I can't tell you how many times I've seen agents come into our office and go, I'll never generate an internet lead, or I've generated them, but I'll never convert them. I could never write a blog, and they'll write these blogs that get shared all over Facebook because it's about being like a successful realtor and trying to manage 3 daughters that are all in athletics.
Yeah.
And other working moms read that and go, oh, that was so good. I'm sharing it. And it's like, wow, you had all this dormant potential inside you. And it was a lot of times it was just this negative self-talk or this limiting self-talk. I can never do this. I can never do this. And I just want to change that dialogue, just tweak it a bit to say you can, or maybe you can, or just keep an open mind that maybe it's not never, maybe it's just like not right now.
Absolutely. And everybody is not going to do everything and every technology. You're going to see some things that you just feel like, I don't know that that's a fit for me. But then all of a sudden something's going to come along and you're going to see yourself there. Reach out. Let us know how we can help you explore that.
All right, let's get into the agent brand. So I don't know if you've been here long enough to personally test this. Like your signs really are in production. They haven't been put out. My strategy is to use the sign as a mini billboard.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. That struck a chord with me too. I thought, that's a great idea.
I think each sign and each directional for that matter, and really the most amplified it gets is if you have a piece of acreage out in the county somewhere where you have the flexibility to maybe put a larger sign out. But whether it's a yard sign, a directional, or a commercial listing or a large land listing, I look at all of those as billboard opportunities.
That's true. And really, although it's not brand new, you've seen people do that, I still didn't think of it that way. I just thought, oh, somebody wants their picture on their sign. But when you explained it to me that way, it was like, oh, yeah, light bulb went off.
And you're seeing that more and more now, that the individual brand, the agent brand is really becoming far more important than the brokerage brand. And I know you're probably not prepared to talk on that now, but I think, we can come back into a follow-up show where we've actually put that to the test in your own business and see agents that come into our company where at their prior, brokerage, they had a 6x12 sign writer. That was like the only branding they get on the sign. Everything else is all about the company. But just to see, it was one of the biggest things that changed my business. And then when we went out on our own and started JWRE as an independent brokerage, it made it such an easy transition because our name was already out there. But the big point I want to make, because we're going to get into discussions down the road on future podcasts about the agent brand versus the brokerage brand and the importance of, just building your own identity in the marketplace. If you want to do some preliminary homework in that regard, just tap into Gary Vaynerchuk a little bit. But what I really wanted to hone in on in terms of this talk this morning was about, just having the mindset of a business owner.
Right.
And not a salesperson.
Right. It is a business.
I think if you are not developing your own brand and just the agent mindset, it's very salesperson mindset. It's not, I'm a business owner, I'm a CEO. They just don't approach it that way.
No, and I didn't approach it that way either. I mean, it's that old mindset. This is the company where I'm working. Really, it's all about them and their position in the market. I'm just the sales guy.
I think if you've got the mindset of a business owner, I think at the end of every day, you ask yourself this question. You do some self-reflection and you go, all right, well, as an employee in my business, do I deserve to keep my job? Do I need to fire myself? Would I fire myself?
Yeah.
I mean, did I earn my keep today?
Right.
And holding yourselves accountable to the dollar productive activities. We are developing Momentum University and this momentum movement, but I had an interaction with one of our agents this morning who has lost momentum in her business and needs to ramp up the momentum in her business. And I think it's that mindset. It's that we've got to switch her mindset to the reactive mindset of a salesperson to the proactive mindset of a business owner. We had that recruiting appointment on Monday. That was a big, thing that I wanted to emphasize in that meeting is that I want them to have this entrepreneurial mindset and this freedom to design their own business.
Right. Their own business, their own identity, their own personal logo, that they're just under the umbrella of JWRE. We're there for them so that they don't have to recreate the wheel, so to speak. But yeah, like it's their own individual business within a business.
Typically, for agents out there who are struggling, if they were to take anything away from this morning, I would think it would be very powerful for them to realize it's just the little things. It's the little things in their business. So a little mindset shift from salesperson or agent mindset to CEO mindset may make them look at things very, very differently. You know?
I think so. I think you're right.
They should be well into their prospecting time this morning. But if they're not, how would they feel if they were actually in charge of agents and one of the stipulations in their contract or their job description was to prospect from 9 to 11, but they themselves aren't doing it?
Right. Now who gets fired?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, you start just changing your mindset, and I think big things will happen. So having that entrepreneurial mindset, thinking like a CEO, these are things that we're going to teach you. Now, how does somebody, develop their individual brand, develop a social media presence? I think if you had a group of agents in this podcast studio from JWRE, they would say they love our virtual marketing assistant team. So you think that's unique? I
think it's great. And I have not actually experienced that yet, although some of the agents have told me about it and how great it is. They let them know early in the week, hey, I'm going to do open house. They get these great flyers. They get posts that they can put on Facebook. One of the agents in the office was telling me that she had a listing. It sold in 2 days. So she contacted the virtual marketing department and said, hey, can you put me together something that I can put on Facebook that I sold this house in 2 days? And they did. That sort of thing frees you up. I know that I have, not many times, but I know that sometimes I have put together something for a flyer or something that I'm going to post on Facebook or market somewhere. And it takes you hours to come up with this stuff. Your time is so much better spent doing something else.
Exactly. So, one of our big pieces of our game plan is to take as much as we can off the plate of the agent to give them as much leverage as possible. The next step, obviously, in the evolution of as a business owner, as a CEO, is to hire that rock star admin. But until they get to that point, let us take as much off their plate as we can so that they can focus on those dollar productive activities, which is going to give them the expendable income to make that hire.
That's right. So they can move their business to the next level.
Yeah, we have had agents that have been at prior brokerages that have come to us. They haven't had a closing in 7 months. They've been with us for the few weeks, and they start to build momentum in their business and get things under contract. So I look at this, recruiting is a part of our DNA, but for anybody out there watching that is against me, and I know I have a lot of haters, and I've come to accept that. I've made peace with that. But I literally feel now that it's my duty and my obligation to seek people out that are talented like yourself, because I know that I can offer you a better opportunity.
I think that's awesome.
The opportunity that exists for you now did not exist before.
It did not. It did not, absolutely.
So should I not have approached you just so I would be welcome at the board luncheons and breakfast meetings?
No, I still don't think they would welcome you.
I don't know if they would or not, but
we're going to change that though.
Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. Like, listen, there's no amount of rumors you can start about me that'll stop me from what I'm doing, because I feel that it's my obligation to find people like Tim. And I just know that in our system, I can help you double your business, triple your business, build a team, learn how to hire and find talent, do all these things that are going to have a huge impact on both your life and your business, to create a life by design, which is a big part of that vision statement that we came up with on Monday. All right, we're getting kind of short on time. We need to kind of round it out. A good many folks that are asking me nowadays about leads. Do we provide leads? And I wanted to kind of go over that, spend some time talking on that. And the answer is yes, we do provide leads. But I want to empower those leads. If you've got, so in Fairhope we have, let's say we have 75 agents out of the Fairhope office. The company lead rotation, they're just going to get one here, one there. But what excites me is empowering the agent to create 30 leads on their own.
Wow.
So for free leads that are available through Google, Facebook, classified advertising sites. And that's going to give them like a lead with revenue strategy that they could maybe invest in a multi-line dialer or, alternate lead sources or, a product like RedX or LandVoice or Expresso Agent or Vulcan 7 that's going to give them expired, withdrawn, and for sale by owner leads. So I know we've had some questions about that. Yes, we provide leads to agents, but more than that, I'm going to show you how to generate your own leads and empower you to do that. I think that is really crucial in our business. For instance, you're a big SOI guy.
Yes.
Is that your primary source of leads?
It is, yes.
So being involved in the Tom Ferry coaching organization, they have identified that as a big issue in our business, that most agents just have 1 to 2 lead sources. And the reality is they need to, at a very minimum level, double that to 4 lead sources. The ideal number of lead sources would be 6.
Wow.
6 lead sources. Now, we don't want to overwhelm agents that are listening and watching, because what we want to do is, if you have one, I'm going to add another one. And then, so I'm going to, add a lead stream, an additional lead stream to your business. We're going to do it one at a time.
Okay.
Until we get up to that 4 to 6.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
great.
it may be a situation that, so typically when you get up into that higher range of lead sources, then it may be time for you to look at, hey, do I need a buyer's agent?
Right. Maybe start building a team.
Maybe start building a
Right.
team. And we had a Time Ferry coach come in the week before last talking about team building. Team building is a hot topic in our industry right now. A lot of teams aren't being built the right way. They're either, structurally dysfunctional, financially dysfunctional, or a combination of the two. There's a rock star team where you came from that, I have heard that is not overly profitable. But it's the ego of the sales volume that drives a lot of these teams. But, that revenue feeds the ego, but profit feeds the family. So I'm like, let's sit down and go over the finances of this business, because it should break down into thirds. A third should go to Uncle Sam. A third should go to running your business, the expenses and overhead. And a third should go back to you into your bank account as profitability. And I think a lot of people, that math is just not adding up. So
No, I'm sure it's not.
yeah. And that leads people to say, well, teams are a waste of time. Teams aren't profitable. Teams don't work. But it absolutely works. It absolutely is the future, and it absolutely can give you not only leverage and profitability, but you can take an agent who wasn't successful. And, we have had agents who have bought their first home.
Wow.
Because they've been on my team. They've been able
amazing.
to afford things that just had seemed like a pipe dream
That
before.
they couldn't before, yeah.
And the fulfillment from that, I just can't describe it.
Yeah, that's great.
So the other thing that I would end on, I could sit here and talk about JWRE all morning, obviously, because it's my baby. But I hear this a lot, and I wanted to see if you agreed with it, that people say, we're not having those discussions in my office. We're not having training discussions in our office or in my prior office that you guys are having.
That's true. The office that I came from before has really good training, lots of training. But what I'm seeing at JWRE is not just really good, solid training, but putting it into practice. And you can say putting things into practice, but that's different than motivating people to do it. Sometimes, and we're all susceptible to sitting through a class or getting really excited, and we walk out thinking we're going to conquer the world, and the next day we don't do anything, and then we never think of it again. What I have noticed about you is that you want to keep the learning, but sometimes you say, why don't you step back and let's implement what you've learned? Let me show you how to implement what you've learned. And that's the crucial difference between what I'm seeing at JWRE and really everybody else.
And I think it's important to note to agents out there watching is that I personally have a coach. At points in my career, not too long ago, I had 2 coaches. And so I will hire coaches to kind of examine what I'm doing, to find holes in my boat, gaps in the way I'm doing things. And one of the things that I discovered through that process was that I was overwhelming agents with information. So I'm kind of, like you've already mentioned, I travel a lot.
Yes.
So the point of me traveling is to learn so I can bring that back to our agents.
Right.
So today at noon in our training room in West Mobile, I'm going to be teaching the agents what I learned for 2 days being in Tom Ferry's office. Tomorrow, I go to an Acre event, and then I leave that Acre event and go to a 2-day mastermind with John Chiplak in Atlanta and learn. There's going to be a room full of agents I'll learn from.
Wow.
But I think that, I'll come back in and put it in this group setting, but I think that's where the one-on-one coaching. So let's take, not everything I say you're going to be interested in or you're not going to be interested in right away. But let's take the stuff you're interested in and hone in on that stuff through a one-on-one coaching appointment.
Yeah, and how we can put that into work in our business.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything that you are excited about in the future, or any closing thoughts for our audience?
To say I'm excited about the future just doesn't scratch the surface. I see so much potential for me personally and for our office, the growth potential and the things that are going to happen. I'm excited to wake up in the morning.
That's awesome. That just tells me that you were the right guy for the job. If you have any questions, you can please add them in the comments to the Facebook Live. We'll come back. We'll circle back around and answer them. I would just restate that you can reach me via Facebook Messenger, email jason@jasonwillrealestate.com, or text 251-583-9728. Our West Mobile trainings are every Wednesday at noon. Lunch is provided. We don't care what office you broker, what office you own, what office you manage, or what office you work at. You are, in fact, welcome. And we look forward to getting into relationship with you. Maybe that's just on a co-op basis.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great to do a deal with somebody that you're friends with, that you know.
All right. So that's awesome. All right. So Tim Wallace, new qualifying broker at JWRE Mobile. Thank you for joining me on the Agent 251 podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It was an awesome time, a great discussion. I think a very impactful discussion for people both watching and listening. And I look forward to having you back maybe in a few months to see where your business has gone, how many additional agents you're leading, and how have we been able to create these additional income streams in your business.
Hey, I think that's awesome. Let's do it.
Let's ask Johnny Gwynn. Johnny, did we miss anything? What do we need to do?
I've been monitoring out.
Okay, cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon back on the Agent 251 podcast.
Well, that wraps up another Agent 251 podcast. Thanks so much for listening. You can find our show on iTunes, any place you get your podcast fix. We really appreciate the listening, and please share it with your friends. This show has been paid for and powered by JWRE, Jason Will Real Estate. You can find Jason, Diana, and the whole JWRE team on the internet and Facebook. And everybody have a great and productive and happy week.